Hello, this is Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I'm the founder of Planter Seed Counseling and Healing Center, where we are helping American families to break cycles of family failures, where we know that there are so many families throughout this country that have experienced family traumas and breakdowns in their relationships, whether it be and the mother and the children, the father and the children, or the spouses having breakdowns in their marriages, in their parenting relationship. We have seen consistently that right now the American family is not healthy. There's so many challenges coming against our families, whether it be the parents working with the children, whether it be spouses in their marriages finding ways to maintain, whether it be people co-parenting and trying to exist and support one another in raising a victorious and successful child. We're seeing consistently that this is the number one problem. It is impacting our education system. It is impacting our health. It's impacting our finances. It is impacting us in every single way. What we want to do in this series is we really want to share with the folks around the world, how do we go about promoting family healing. So we want to deal with in this session what we call the laws of family healing. As we go through periods like Mother's Day and Father's Day, I've just found that so many young people, period, are really, really having struggles. Being a person who teaches in college and works with hundreds of students on a weekly basis, the consensus of my students is always about their relationships with their parents and the relationships their parents have with one another. And we have got to get to that point where we really understand what families mean to all of us. So what we have to do that is we have to break down levels of the family. We have to break down roles and responsibilities in the family. We have to look at, well, what does our father mean to us? What does our mother mean to us? What happens when they don't do what they're supposed to do? And it's that simple. Why do we need kids? Why is it profitable and healthy for kids to obey and respect their parents? There's laws to that stuff. There's laws of this earth that it matters. Why is it's so important that a family work together and love each other and be able to heal past conflicts? Because it impacts us in our overall success outcome. I want to show you some things here which I believe these things are consistent problems that families are having. And these are things that people are finding it very difficult to deal with. First, in that marriage and divorce and bad relationships and those abusive relationships, those are problems. I call them curses. They're cycles of family failure, because what we see is that the divorce that's taught from our parents is a training ground to teach us kind of how we deal with problems. People always say they don't want to have those same problems, but what I have found is our parents are our first teachers, and they really do train us in how to deal with things, how to respond to things. So we found there's millions of people who said, I don't want to be like my parents. However, they end up worse. So when you see divorce, marriage, and bad relationships, that's a seed in a kid, to where the kid believes, and they may not even be conscious, that they're doing the same things that their parents did. They don't even know why. They don't even know why they act a certain way. They don't even know why they say a certain thing, but it's in them. It's a tree root, and it is in them. Infidelity, it breeds a lack of trust. It means it gets you to a point in your life where you don't trust anyone. It's a very dangerous thing. So if you've had families that have fallen apart, man, I've had college students, say, my father cheated on our family. You know what I mean? My mother cheated on our family. These are some things that are destroying the family, the daddy issues, the disconnection from our father. We're going to talk about that today. We also see cancer is a major problem that's going on in families right now. And the cancer is a response to all the emotional decay that we deal with on a consistent basis in our families. It really, really is. Cancer is something that is emotional and is very stress oriented. And if that's why they tell us so many cancers can be prevented. And if you consider, while breast cancer is dominant and really running the world of health right now, it's because we have so many broken hearts. You know, I've always said, man, cancer will show up in your body where a place has been abused and neglected. Well, there's nothing. So many people, millions of women are living with broken hearts. Broken hearts. Think about it. It's not hard to understand. Our hearts have been neglected. People's hearts have been broken time and time again by their father, by their mother. Then they go get with a spouse that breaks their heart. And we women are trained to try to keep that stuff in. It's not working. It's not working. It's not working. And it's dangerous. And it kills people. It decays your health. It literally induces so much negative stress hormones. And if you check and research what cancer is, cancer cells, mutant cells. What else is a mutant cell but stress? I mean, you telling me stress doesn't damage your cells, really? Come on, nobody believes that. I mean, we're smarter than that, guys. What I'm saying is this family is the key to life. Family is the key to life. Family is the key to a good life. And when you have breakdowns in your family, things like cancer, things like mental illness comes up. So now people are depressed. Now people are wounded from a past parent-child relationship. They've been abused by their mother. They've been abused by their father. They've been neglected by their father. They've been left by their father. Their parents got divorced. These issues that are coming up in family. And so now you have kids taking psychotropics. Now you got kids taking prescription meds to try to get better, addicted to Vicodin, because everybody's trying to get better. Everybody's trying to feel better about themselves. And they use medication to do it. And that is something that has come from mental illness. And the primary mental illness is always depression. Depression is the onset of most mental illnesses. I would almost say all, because that is the seed and base of mental illness, is depression, is hopelessness. Hopelessness. And when you lose your hope, if you lose hope in your family, if you lose hope in your father, lose hope in your mother, you can't trust in God or you know, now we got to go to faith. We don't say God, now we got to go to faith. Come on, man. You can't believe in God. You can't see him. My mother hurt me. My father hurt. So now you can't believe in God. So that makes your faith non-existent. And so that's what people don't understand. So a lot of people are just doing religious activities on Sunday because they can't believe, because the primary people in their life have broken their trust. So now they can't trust in something I don't see. You can't. Molestation is a problem in families because it's occurring and the kids are not telling the parents. And so now becomes a lifelong curse on a kid, and they don't tell anyone, and it's just bottled up. So many people have been molested and abused and have not told anyone. This has got to be rectified. This is what this practice is about, man. This practice is about using all of the media tools in America to be able to give people 24-hour help so they can see and hear things that will help them to overcome the issues that they face in their family. Every single one of these issues come out of our family. They come out of the innermost bellies of the family. Your family is your first experience with life and how life should be. So if you're a person who was adopted at birth and abandoned at birth, and you don't know your parents, and I don't know where they are, I'm a foster kid, I have this issue, I have that issue, you are a person right now. This is the seed of where all of our emotional issues go on. People fluctuate with their weight. People go on and off drugs. People are using tobacco. People are abusing alcohol, abusing marijuana, abusing women, abusing men, abusing education, trying to find a way to hide socially where people will accept it. I'm getting another master's. Really? Okay, thanks. Good luck with that. So, and we also see, you know, this, I call it the single woman syndrome. We've had so many women with a broken heart, so now the relationships didn't work. Now they're left as a single parent. Now they're carrying the burden of two people, trying to raise a house, trying to raise these kids, trying to take care of themselves, and trying to do these things. And this thing creates fatigue. It creates anger. It creates loneliness. These things create bad judgment. And then they make bad decisions that create and create more problems for them. So these are the problems that I really see and that I think we're going to really tackle in our practice, that consistently is plaguing folks. So the first pillar is that I think I want to share with you is what our fathers mean to us, you know. And I think this is the first video you have to really watch, because if you understand, the father-child relationship is the most pivotal relationship in every human being's emotional and personal development. So if you're in a situation where you don't understand, the father's presence and influence in the life of a kid is extremely critical. And it makes a contribution to our emotional stability. But unfortunately, society doesn't offer us that opinion. You know, they say, well, so many people have been hurt by their father. Then we go to a situation where we believe fathers are not valuable. Now, what I call this is the without a father syndrome. The without a father syndrome takes place on 5 different levels, and there's 5 different types. So one of the things we want to look at is, when people start talking about the father issue, they start saying, well, I was born with my father. I know my father. My parents were married. Well, guys, that's nothing's further from, that's not the issue. See, somebody lied to us and said, well, you don't have a father, you're not going to make it. And then they say, well, that's a black problem. All those kids don't have daddies. Well, hey, let me tell you, there's no truth. Hey, listen, a lot of people are suffering from disconnect with the father. Without a father syndrome, it's father disconnect, meaning we're disconnected, meaning you can know your father and be disconnected from him and have the same issues. So the first type is some people who don't know their father. And if you don't know your father, some people have never met him. Some people, foster kids. Some people just don't know who their father is. We just had a major entertainer come out and say he was lied to about who his father is, and this creates a great distinction, a great distrust in people. You have also the type 2 is some people that know their father, but he doesn't acknowledge him. So I believe that's really the seed of a lot of the crime that we see, people being rejected, and a lot of the sexual acting out, people being rejected. People hate rejection. Rejection is like the #1 fear of all people, to be rejected. When you're rejected by your father, man, I'm telling you, that's like the worst pain it creates. And a lot of times it shows as anger, because people find it more comfortable to be angry and abusive than to cry. So, I know him, but we have no relationship. We live in the same city, but we don't talk. He has another family. He doesn't mess with us like that. And that's a very hard pill for kids to swallow, for us as adults to swallow as well. Type 3 is, I know him, I live with him, my parents may have been married, cohabitated, lived together, but we didn't have that kind of relationship. He didn't meet my emotional needs. I have a very unaffectionate father, and so many kids need love. So many adults need love, and when you have never ever, I have one of my people who I really love in life, just didn't know their father, and really is struggling. I'm talking about literally at 50 years old is really, really struggling with the father displacement in life, and their father not being in their life. And a successful person, well educated, makes fantastic money, but has the emotional problems that you just really want to use. Like, why you had a problem? It all goes to the daddy issue. Those daddy issues are very, very, very strong. Type 4 is the victims of the substitute father. You can't sub people's father out. You can't bring stepfathers in, and you can't bring these people in to replace your daddy. You just can't do it. And a lot of women think you can do that, and a lot of society goes to these mentoring theologies and think you can replace somebody's father. It's flawed theology. It just doesn't work. You can't do it. You can support people, but you cannot replace their daddy. And notice, what do the kids always say? You're not my daddy, all the time, and they always will. So you basically, it's kind of fraudulent when you try to come in and be somebody's father. I mean, I know guys that, go and marry girls and try to be fathers to their sons and stuff, and try to make the kid respect them. Man, you out your mind. You need to knock it off, because you embarrassing yourself. You trying to be a daddy to this kid. Why don't you be a daddy to your own kids, and be an advocate or a bridge so that kid can get back to his father? And a lot of times, I need to say this right now, is that A lot of us need to really knock it off. A lot of times we have sons living in our house with our new husband or our boyfriend. That's some garbage. You need to send that kid with his daddy. You need to send that kid with his father. You need to stop trying to be a person that's a rescuer. You are hurting that kid. And that kid, when he grows up and is able, will hate you and disconnect forever. And that's why we have all these broke down adult relationships with parents and their kids because of this very thing. The substitute daddy. You forced a man on me. You forced him. I didn't like him. That's your boyfriend. That's your husband. That's not my daddy. So that's for somebody right now listening. You need to send that kid with his daddy. Let him and his daddy be responsible for each other, because you're ruining him by trying to make him accept someone as his father that he don't even like. He don't even like him. He don't even like him. Want to call him by his first name. No boy should be calling no man by his first name. But see, that's some foolishness that a mother set up. We're going to talk about you mothers in this series as well, and we're going to get that straight today. Thank you. Number 5, type 5 is the kids born out of wedlock. The reason I'm telling everybody's got to stop having these kids out of wedlock is because first of all, it's the number one indicator of poverty. It's the predictor of poverty. Why? The two families are almost predicted and systematic going to not be together at some point. What does that mean? We're going to separate. That's different economics situations. So that means he's paying rent, I'm paying rent. So family wealth is shot because we're spending our money on child support, rent, expenses, clothes at his house, clothes at my house, gas to drop you off at your daddy's house. That game. And it is a curse to your economic and you confuse the kid because he's got daddy values, mama values, daddy's house rules, mama's house rules, grandma's house rules, auntie house rules. Why? You confuse the kid. So we have got to do a better job of making sure, putting our families in a success position. You don't put our families in a success position by having a kid with somebody you're not married to. You are putting data-wise, statistic-wise, you are putting your economic future at risk. You're putting your kids' future at risk. And because we're in love right now, you're not in love without commitment. There's no love without commitment, so we're in love. Commit. So you're going to raise a kid in a non-committed family, and then you wonder what's wrong with the kid because you raised the kid in a non-commitment environment. Can marriages go bad? Sure. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about you and the choice you're making on the front end. Nah, that's like me going to college and not being committed to getting a degree. You feel me now? Don't play with me. I'm not playing. These kids are the victims of our ideology. We're in love, so we had a kid. The hell are you doing? The hell are you getting that from? That's not the way to do business. It's a lot of businesses I like. I don't invest in them. Come on, I mean, dude, are you serious? Nobody told me the road would be easy. Come on, man. Y'all not being real. What do y'all want to play around? You want to keep playing at the expense of these young people's life? No, man. No. Stop it. These kids' hearts are broken. They're messed up because we're making choices that are making their life hard. Okay, if you don't care about yourself, then do you. But don't leave a curse or a cycle of failure to your kid. Make it hard on them for their life start. You making your life hard. You working 15 jobs trying to make ends meet for them. Who signs up for hardship? Everybody say, I love Dr. Jackson. And Dr. Jackson loves me. Thank you. I needed that right now because I feel you being right. Nobody told us. They've been telling us, all right, you had a baby out of wedlock, you going to hell. Man, stop that. First of all, that's crazy. I'm not God. I have no judgment of you as a person. I'm talking about the way it's going to work out. We're talking about the facts. When I talk to the kids in prison, there's the issue same. When I talk to the kids that are failing in college, right there, the things I just shared with you, it's going to be one of those 5. But there, when you can't rate, you can't do that. And if you have a choice to make before you start, change your choice. I don't have no judgment of people. We have to be able to assess conduct. Having kids with people you're not married to is a proven losing formula. It's proven to lose. It's a proven losing formula. It's a heartbreak central. It's poverty central. Now I want to hear your argument. The kid is the loser. Thank you. So, this makes us say, why did God give us a father? Why do we all need fathers? Why are fathers important? Very simply put, we have a father for 10 reasons. Number one is that a father's job is to protect his kids. When fathers don't protect us, kids have to protect themselves. So this gives birth to gangs, violence. This gives birth to molestation. Molestation's number one offense occurs out of the care of our biological father. That's fact. Okay. Father's job is to discipline us. There's a difference between mother discipline and father discipline. I heard one man say, when he talked about discipline, about the approach you should go about it. Let me make this very clear. Father's discipline. Okay. Father's discipline. His father's primary role is discipline. There's a difference between abuse and discipline, and they're not the same thing. And discipline is really instruction. It's instruction. It's what guides you from your way. So you have to. So yes, you may have to pop the hand, spank the butt, and redirect. But discipline is true instruction. So when you're helping your kids, you're really instructing them and moving them forward. That's what discipline really is. Most of us as dads got abused, and so that's what our paradigm of it is: abuse. And that's not what discipline is. And so when fathers discipline, it's something that is innate to us, just like mother's natural nurture for their kids. It's innate. It's what they've been given. And it's what makes it easy for them to do. And it is father's job to discipline. Number 3, it's father's job to provide financial means. And financial means, very simply put, it's our job to care for our kids, make sure our kids are clothed and taken care of at a high level, can have a lot of experiences. And so it's no excuse for a father not to be able to financially support the kid. I can't hear it, dude. I can't hear anything you're saying about it. When you go and have sex and have that kid, dude, you're taking on that responsibility. And I can't accept that we don't want to do our job. Period. That's what we have a father. Father's job is to build and maintain the self-esteem of all of his children. Father's job is confidence, meaning the father imparts confidence to us and shares with us and encourages us and helps us to be a sense of purpose and boldness and confidence in ourselves. And when fathers don't instill that, you can see it in a child, even adults, the ones that don't, their father didn't do that. Father confidence is I'm talking about it, it is the competitive advantage in life to have your father believe in you. Father's job is to provide guidance, direction, ethics, integrity. Our father's job is to teach us integrity and character and development and the things that help us become great adults. When your father instills those values in you and instills those ways of living, your word is your bond. You get that from your father. You see your father keep his word. Those are great things that instills integrity in a young person. The guidance that a young people need to become great. They get it from their dad. Father's job is to teach proper respect for our mother and for women. And we can see the respect for women nationwide has gone to kaput. To hell, literally, in every situation. So we want to make sure that as fathers and as men, we respect our child's mother and our wife. And irregardless of what they do and what they say, you are setting a societal standard for how men and women see mothers and women. Women have to be respected, and fathers are the ones who set that standard. And when fathers don't do it, I mean, it is very, very dangerous and disappointing to society. That's why you see girls have turned on each other. The girl violence problem is very crazy. The young girls are literally having so many problems, and it's because our fathers have not protected our daughters and protected their wives in the terms of the way they treat them, how they love them, how they respect them. And it has created a societal problem that, quite frankly, we have to correct. And it's no way it can stay the way it is. We have to correct it. Father's job is to protect the virginity and sexual purity of his children. And, that's very, very direct. It's very, very straightforward. Protecting the virginity and sexual purity of the kids. That's why sex is out of control. People are using sex as medication. Fathers teach that. But see, the reason sex is out of control and as medication is because the father has left an emotional deficit in the kid. So the kid, as adults, we're talking adults, are using sex to feel better, to validate. They're using it as their medicine. They're not using it for the love blessing it was designed to be. And the blessing for us to be, as you see in number 8, father's job is to be directly involved in a marriage transaction. And very simply, when fathers set that standard, kids meet that standard that their father set. Fathers are supposed to be involved in marriage. They're supposed to teach their kids, man, save yourself for marriage. But if you got your father teaching loosey-goosey ideas and doing whatever he wants to do and not supporting his kids, the kids don't know anything. And they're going to do what they want to do. They're going to do how they feel. And you don't want people who live how they feel. You want people who live a life of conviction, a life of passion, a life of purpose. And that comes from your dad. Your dad puts it in you. And when your father does not do that, it makes it hard for you to have a relationship with the Creator. It makes it hard for you to trust other people. It makes it hard for you to really connect to your spouse. Because your father is the one that shows you it's all right to trust. And if he never did, you really don't trust nobody. Either you're over trusting or you're under trusting. So people you should be trusting and caring for, you don't. And people you shouldn't be trusting, you do. And that all comes from our dad. And marriages are the way they are today because fathers have really, really struggled in modeling this for us. Father's job, as we just said, is to be a role model in conduct and choices. All children imitate their father, and father's job is to provide unconditional love. And when that doesn't happen, people don't trust. They love with condition. And this is what makes this without a father syndrome so unique, because if any of these 10 are not met, irregardless of race, gender, economic background, you're going to have daddy issues. You're going to have the without a father syndrome. That's what it is in clinical terms. And it's very simply put, it is an emotional disorder that results from growing apart or separated from your dad, or not having the connection or relationship you wanted to have with your father. I just had a young person, a college student, share with me yesterday about just how disappointed they were in the relationship with their father because of some things that went on between them and their mother. And they said, I never told them. And it's impacting the way this young person, the relationship she had with guys on campus and things like that. And it's our job as professionals to be able to recognize that stuff, man, and be able to help send people on a healthy path. Very simply put, the without a father syndrome is the lack of emotional love from our fathers. And then when we don't get that, Dr. Gary Chapman told us, the author of the 5 love languages, very simply that, we receive love on 5 different levels through our words and quality time, gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. We all need love. And when we're not getting love and people aren't putting love in our love tank, in our heart, in our soul, by the way that they talk to us, the time they spend with us, the quality of gifts, acts of service, and physical touch, a lot of times physical touch gets corrupted and turns into sex, and that's not what the person wants. When people don't know how to talk to one another and there's abusiveness in the language, parents can drive their kids away with how they speak. You can speak crazy and cause problems between you and your child, and you and your spouse, through the way that you communicate. When the love tank needs are not met, we are in a situation where you're going to be love deprived. And if you look at right here, that average love tank of an American parent and family is just like on E. It's like we haven't loved each other at the level of our love tank. I love to see families that really love each other. They spend a lot of good quality time together. They love to communicate with each other, support one another. And 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 that's a terrific family. I think the thing I'm most proud in my family is the fact that I love to be with my family. You know, the family I grew up in, I didn't like to be with them. I didn't like to be around them. Didn't like to be together. My family, you know, with my wife and kids, I love to be with them. They love to be with me. We love to be together. My kids, they love each other. They love playing together. They love being together. They love being together. They just love being with their parents. I just think that is just, for me, that's the blessing, you know, and the environment that we've been able to create a family love. And it's been difficult because I wasn't raised in it. You know, my wife's come from a big family. She liked being as a family. I didn't come from that. So I fought that. I don't want to be with y'all. You know, it's so what was happening? The root that was put in me as a child now came out in my family. And now I'm having personal problems in my family, the family I created based on roots that were put in me as a child of love depravity. No love from my father, no love, my parents not being together, we don't eat together, my family eats together every day. We're together every day. We do activities together every day. We have our walks together every day. We play together every day. You know, I read to them every day. And that is something that I wasn't taught. It's something that I learned because I said, why do I not want to do this? From that root that was put in me as a child by how my family was brought up. So the thing that's very important for us to do, a law of family healing, is to be able to understand by knowing the roles of a father. Look at what happened to you. Look at what did you get as a kid? What roots are in you as a father that can let you know about things you're doing in your family. That is so very critical and important to stop and say, okay, what's going on? You know, what's going on in my family? Why is that like that? You know, why do I feel that way? You know, what makes that like that? Why, you know, why am I this kind of father? Why am I struggling financially? Why do I have these ideas about taking care of my kids? If you got poverty in your mind and saying you're only going to do so much for your child, those are ideas that your father put in you. You know, a lot of fathers say, well, nobody did nothing for me. You don't parent out of that paradigm. You parent out of your heart. And if your heart's full of poison and disappointment and hurt that your parents bestowed upon you, you're going to bestow that and inflict that on your children. So what I believe Father's Day is really about, man, being real, it's about fathers serving, man. It's about us as dads, man. If you really think about it, this real blessing, it's a blessing to be a dad, man. It's leadership. It's God bestowing a treasure to you. Kids are a gift from God. A wife is a gift from God. So it's God blessing you with his treasures and gives this to us, man. How are you managing your treasure? Listen, we all need help as fathers, man. I'm here to help families because we're not being taught it. If you were blessed and came from a family where your father walked in these things, no father's perfect. You know, but if his core was right and he understood family and he did things right, man, you are a blessed man. You are a blessed woman. You come from a blessed family. You understand? That's a wonderful thing, and that's the legacy I want to leave for my kids. I got 2 sons, man, and my trophy in life is them being wonderful husbands and wonderful dads, and that's how I'm raising them. I'm raising them to be wonderful husbands and wonderful dads. And the way for me to do that is through modeling it, getting myself right, detoxing myself from all ideas of my hurt and damaged past. And that has been the challenge. And that's what this Planted Seed Counseling and Healing Center is about. Healing from the traumas and deficiencies of our past which allow us to embrace our future. And that's what this is about. Listen, I hope this part one helped you, and I really hope it made a contribution to your life. And you got to make sure you watch part two, because part two is about our mama issues, and it's about our oppressive mother syndrome. I believe for so many of us, our mother is our problem, and we're going to deal with it in our next part. Thank you for joining us.